Yo, what's up, family? Before we start the video, please give a like, subscribe, and share to any and everyone that you can. Just so we get out there a little bit more. With that being said, let's get right into the video. Alright, how y'all doing? I hope y'all doing good. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not, make sure you take your shoes off before you come down. In two-way center, Amari Williams, Celtics drafted him with the 46th pick out of Kentucky. He had 14 points, 6 rebounds, 4 blocks, 2 steals, 7 out from the field, did have 6 fouls and fouled out in overtime in his first G League game. And what I want to draw from this is the G League. This is 100% the G League. So I'm not like looking at plays where he's like jumping over people, like he's using his athleticism to beast over these guys, right? I'm looking at things that I think can possibly translate. So the screening and the passing. We have seen like Kada screen a lot, be a really effective screener. We've seen Luka Garza at times be a really good screener on those wide pin downs, on those on-ball screens, off the ram actions and stuff like that. And I think Amari is close to the level of screen that those guys are, but he's a much better passer. Now that means you might want to have the ball in his hands a little bit more, and like you will run the offense through him sometimes in his pinch post area, or he can be in the post, and you run those split actions that Golden State runs with Draymond Green. Here we got some pager action. So pager is when somebody sets a rip screen or an off-ball screen and then comes to get a dribble handoff. So Ron Harper's going to do that here. Amari, and with him coming to the Celtics did a phenomenal job at spacing their non-shooting center. So I have no doubt that Joe Mazzulla is going to put Amari in the best positions to be successful. But it's so great for him as a passer when guys don't guard him because he just gets to survey the floor. But his screening was very impressive in this game. He literally just gets guys off of his scores right there. This is what you're going to see from Amari, the handoffs, them playing offense through him and him being able to screen guys open. Here's a much better example of his screening. Shoga coming up, boom. Like the guy's completely out of the play. They almost fall to the ground. Shoga gets an open three, he just doesn't hit it. What I did really like in this game is his shot blocking. I felt like in the preseason I feel like in Summer League and some of the preseason games, I didn't see him as a shot blocker. And the Rockets game where he got some garbage time minutes, he broke up an alley hoop, he had some good contests at the rim. So I was starting to see the Drexel Amari Williams where he won 3 defensive player of the year. It's not saying he's going to be a defensive player of the year, but at least being impactful on the defensive side of the ball. I saw some of that in the Rockets game, and that was a really encouraging sign. He had 4 blocks in his game, and he changed many more shots right here against T. Salon, blocking that. All right, he could be really effective in the Celtics offense if they put the ball in his hands in these situations. So again, with them not really guarding a non-shooting center, you wouldn't really guard guys that close. You see how the opponent got up to him on a catch, but then he backed up because they know he's not really going to shoot the ball. We see this a lot with Kada. We saw it a lot with Luke Cornett last season where they were able to get easy 2-on-1 situations sometimes for like a half a second or a second because that guy wasn't guarding him. They were able to get into dribble handoffs here. He gets in the pinch post. They were going to initiate some blind pig, or it looks like it. Blind pig is a dribble handoff under a denying defender. T. Salon isn't denying, but he is playing super high. This can also be used for like super high defense. So you see Shoga, I'm pretty sure his first option was to get the ball to Kendall Brown. T. Salon looks like he's in a position to get that pass if it's passed. So they give it to Amari Williams, who flashes. The blind pig is if there's a dribble handoff right here. But Kendall Brown does a nice job faking like he's going to the ball, cuts, and Amari Williams just effortless pass placement there. Perfect. Kendall Brown gets it done. Here he comes over and gets another block in the paint. All right, great sequence here by Amari. The guy drives past Shoga. He pump fakes. Amari stays down on a pump fake. Then he times the shot up well, gets a piece of that, doesn't get the rebound, but is still able to block on the backside, gets 2 blocks, starts to break to Wendell Moore, and he gets fouled. All right, so they get the steal. I'm not sure if this was him or Wendell. Yeah, this was Wendell Moore. So Wendell Moore gets a steal. They run a break, but it was just nice to see some athleticism out of Amari Williams here. Runs the floor, gets a big dunk. All right, this was also really good to see. I wouldn't classify him as like a super athlete. I know his last name is Williams. People say he's a very, very raw Rob Williams. He is not Rob Williams. There will never be enough. I don't mean to say that like Rob is like Michael Jordan or something, but he's just such a one-of-a-kind athlete. I don't think anybody could be like Rob. Rob is 50 times the athlete that Amari is, but Amari is a good athlete. But to see this vertical pop from Amari was like really impressive. I really needed to see this because again, he's not this supreme athlete vertically, at least. Like for a 7-foot guy to be 260, to handle the ball the way that he does, to pass the way he does, and to run the floor with the ball sometimes the way that he does, he's a very good athlete in that sense. But vertical pop isn't like a strong suit. So to see him do this and get up for this was good to see. This is what I mean by those 2-on-1 situations where the big isn't guarding our non-shooting center, right? We see this a lot in the NBA. Now, they probably won't be at the free throw line. This is crazy amount of space. The big won't be up to touch or at the level of the screen because this is a non-shooter. So they're just gonna, once this guy comes off the screen, they're gonna come up and pick up that guy and try to handle this role by the non-shooting center, right? But this is a perfect example of them being on a 2-on-1, right? Look at this. From here to this point, it's a 2-on-1. If Shoga doesn't cross this right here, it's a 2-on-1. So he can shoot this three, he can pull up to the mid-range. He's only affected by this guy if he comes to the free throw line. So Amari does a nice job of changing the angle, well, flipping the angle of the screen. You see it here, the guy's already has a beat on it, so he's gonna flip it right there, get Shoga a wide open opportunity, and he hits a three. All right, so something that anybody that ever watched Amari Williams at Kentucky or in college, the one thing he really needs to improve is his touch, right? I feel like he was inefficient for a big man, but I feel like he was overcast, especially as a scorer, because he was Kentucky's offense, right? There were games where they didn't play with a traditional point guard, and even when they did, everything ran through him. And there were some times where he had to take shots in the post. He's not a post scorer. Like, he's not a refined post scorer. So him having to take 6 to 7 attempts a game in the post just wasn't the best for his efficiency. In the NBA, I think they'll do a much better job of utilizing him in a pick and roll, like roller type of situation. But in this game, he was 7 for 9 from the field. He had multiple of those left-handed post hooks that I saw from him in college. He had some nice touch in his game. All right, so this is like an example of what the offense can look like through Amari Williams, right? What I think he does really well is like when they run zoom action, which I think is a perfect action for him. The Celtics ran this a lot against the Magic, in their last game, where they were running the stagger zoom, they're running the zoom Spain, stuff like that, right? I think Amari's perfect for that. What I think he does well is off the zoom action. Like, this guy will set the off-ball screen, which is usually a pin down for somebody to come and get a dribble handoff, right? On these zoom actions, right, he does a nice job of passing to this guy when he sees that this defender is just taking a chill, because he sees the dribble handoff, so he's just gonna chill for a second. Amari does a nice job. You see how once he passed the ball to Wendell Moore, who had 28 points in this game, who was really good, this defender's gonna have to like reset, right? You see him right there. He kind of takes a shove because he didn't think that the pass was coming there. Amari screens, then rescreens. Good shot by Wendell Moore. Then we go down the defensive end, and Amari's going to change another layup. All right, sure, on the zoom action again, he sees that Kendall Brown is actually open for this, so he gives it to him, screens, rescreens. Kendall Brown snakes the screen. He's going to go for the mid-range. Amari Williams goes over the top for an offensive rebound and puts it back with a jam. All right, the Hornets try to run Spain. We saw him do this in the Rockets game. Here he breaks up another alley-oop attempt. And this is also something that I wanted him to do more, especially in college. I talked about him having to improve his touch, but I talked about him being a 7-foot guy that can just easily just do this. There's a lot of times where he got the ball in the paint. He opted to take those post hooks and those floaters from this range. Sometimes you just got to catch the ball, take a step, and dunk the ball. All right, so I talked about his fouls, right? He did foul out in overtime. He had 6 fouls. Got his 6-1 a couple minutes into overtime, right? I didn't view these fouls as, oh my God, he's so slow, he had to foul here. I think 2 of them were loose ball fouls on the rebounds. He's trying to get an offensive rebound. He went over the back of a smaller guy. Cool, that could be fixed with like positioning and coaching him how to position first before going for the ball. There weren't any fouls where I was like, bro, he's so slow on this pick and roll. This guy's going by him. He has to foul him. There was nothing like that. He had one shooting foul that he didn't have to commit. Like, he just made a dumb play. And this is the one that really hurt, because I saw him do this at Kentucky. I think it was a Kentucky versus Florida game, and it was the first half. He already had 2 fouls. He picked up his third on this. He cannot do this with 4, especially with 4 fouls. He got 4 fouls at this point. He cannot pick up his 5th like this. Just trying to reach in, stupid stuff like that. Hopefully coach can get that out of him. And I've been talking about his effectiveness as a screener. You see him over here. He did this to Sion James at Duke last season. Kentucky played Duke. He did this to Sion James. Sion James is one of the swollest people you're going to see in the NBA. He did this exact same thing to Sion James. Now, this might be, I don't know if, he kind of slides into it. So maybe, especially in the NBA, with more known guys, he might get this called against him. But just the power of his screens, we saw him do this. This isn't just one time where this has happened. So I did want to showcase that. All right, more effectiveness as a screener, right? Set the on ball, go set the wide pin down. Watch how much space he gets Wendell Moore here. Boom. Look at that separation. They start here. He gets skinny. Boom. A lot of separation. Now, when you screen well, it helps you. there's a much larger chance that you get open if you screen well for somebody. So now there's a 2-on-1 situation. The big on the opposing team did a nice job of getting back, but again, that touch, he showed a touch in this game. Here with another lefty hook. Here he hits another floater with the left hand. But that is a video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like, subscribe, and share to any and everyone that you can, just so we got there a little bit more. Now we'll see you guys in the next video. This is Nick. Peace.